Gang. Welcome back, man, to the Let's Talk Everything podcast. Let's Talk Everything 414. You feel me? I am the host, Carnage Slaughter. I am here on another beautiful day. Another beautiful day. Any day that we wake up is a beautiful day to me, if you ask me. And honestly, I got a lot to talk about. Let me fix my mic up. I got a lot to talk about. You know, I got a lot to discuss. And it's basically dealing with us as a people. You know what I'm saying? As a whole, as a community, and how we got to come together, right? How we got to think a little smarter. We got to start coming together, thinking a little smarter, working a little bit harder together. You understand? That's what we got to do. A lot of times, gang, you know, I feel like this, right? The conversation I got to talk about with togetherness, with collaboration, you know what I'm saying? We're working together and networking is because humanity and the hate humanity got for each other is far stronger than our perseverance together. You know what I'm saying? The hate we have for each other in the world, around the world, all over, is far stronger than the togetherness for each other. You know, and I could say that because like I told y'all in a video I just did recently, it was a car crash. It was a car crash recently on 35th and Valete. And it was a girl that was driving, we found out. Now, it was a 19-year-old boy that was caught also. But when the story first came out, it was a 19-year-old person they was looking for, and I think it was a male. Now, I didn't know that they killed some young people, you know. Condolences to the family of those that was injured. It was a mother and her two sons that was killed. Condolences to them. Their life was precious, and the driver was just an idiot, you know, and I can say that with a fact. The driver was a female, right? And she said the reason she kept driving, you know, during this high-speed chase from the cops is because the guy put a gun to her head. The 19-year-old boy put a gun to her head. Now, to believe that, I don't know. You know, me personally, I don't believe that. Me personally, I believe this right here. This is my opinion, and this is what I believe. And y'all cannot like my opinion. I can care less. At the end of the day, I believe before the high-speed chase started, Fox 6 said the car was stolen from Indiana. I believe that before the high-speed chase started, she was already voluntarily interested into this high-speed chase along with stealing his vehicle. That's what I believe. I believe this is something that her and him planned together because the whole plan was to get some money. You know, nowadays in 2025, young crowds, you know, the younger generation of crowds, not all of them, majority, they are willing to do anything to get money. They are willing to go strip. They are willing to sell a body. They are willing to steal. They are willing to rob their own family members. They are willing to set their own family members up, set up their friends just for a piece of money. And that right there alone, that whole context of idea I just created right there for y'all explains and it lays out the whole play out of money is the root to all evil, in which in all actuality is not. Money is not the root to all evil. You know what I'm saying? Actually, people are the root to evil. Thoughts are the root to evil. Thoughts are the root to evil. Money is just the energy. And a lot of people use that excuse, you know what I'm saying, to get away with certain things they do in life and to justify certain things other people do in life. I feel like these teenagers stealing this vehicle from wherever they stole it from and driving it way to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right there shows us all that, you know, they got common sense and discernment that this is something they wanted to do. This is something they intended to do. This is something that their lower selves instructed them to do. And they acted off that frequency. You know what I'm saying? No ifs, ands, buts about that. They acted off that frequency. You know, if as a matter of fact, I'm going to try to pull up the story on my phone and I'm going to try to read a little bit about it so we can get deeper into the story, because I didn't want to read about it, honestly, because it was so sad. You know what I'm saying? It was so sad because just not too long ago, there was another incident right on that same corner of 35th and Valete where another 19-year-old teenager in a stolen vehicle that was on a high-speed chase, or in a high-speed chase, as you guys like to call it, ran into a cell phone store right on that corner and ran right into, I'm talking about right into the door entrance of the store, as if he was going in there to shop for a cell phone, but inside of his vehicle, which was crazy. And my thing is this: if he would have stopped a long time ago, got pulled over, got arrested, I guess, for that stolen vehicle, he would have been out of jail within a few weeks to a month or so. You know, he would have had a charge on him, which he can endure, because, like they say, if you do the crime, you gotta do the time. And you know, that's the street motto out here in the streets. If you from the streets, if you from the hood, if you from anywhere, you know, in the ghetto, you know that every hood nigga or every hood female always say, if you do the crime, you gotta be big enough to do the time. That means if you out here robbing people and you get caught up by the police, you gotta be grown enough and you gotta own up to doing that time. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you can't bitch out and you can't whine and wimp out and get to telling, but that's where, you know, we get this confused at, because a lot of people on the streets nowadays that supposed to be street niggas, street women, they tell, they snitch, they get scared. The police offer all types of fucking football numbers. They offer all types of jersey numbers to these kids, to these teenagers who probably never experienced life to its full capabilities. They get scared and they start saying, hey, yo, you know what? I'm not finna spend the rest of my life in jail. I'm not finna spend the rest of my life in prison behind nobody else's crime, behind nobody else's doings. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I can understand that. But like I told y'all, we are finna get right into this story. We are finna get right into the story, you know, because I think it's needed. I think it's most definitely needed right away. So as the story goes on, right, I got a little bit about it. It say Milwaukee fatal crash kills 3. 17-year-old now charged as well. So here go a brief, you know, about the story, just in case a lot of y'all didn't know the significance of the basics of the foundation of the story, right? A 17-year-old female, Deshauna Eggerson, has been charged with multiple counts after allegedly driving a stolen SUV that crashed during a police chase, killing 3 family members at 35th and Valete in Milwaukee. 19-year-old Trayvon Loston also faces felony charges, but not homicide, as prosecutors say Eggerson was behind the wheel. Data from the SUV airbags module showed it was traveling 66 to 70 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone just before the crash. So at the end of the day, you know, she right away at the end of the day, she is all out of order, right? You 17 years old. I'm sure you do not have driver's license. I'm sure, like I said before, like the news said, the car was stolen. And then you are driving 66 miles per hour to 70 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone. Come on, gang. So look, a 17-year-old has also been criminally charged in a crash that killed 3 members of a single family at 35th and Valete on September 16th. The accused is Deshauna Eggerson, and she faces the following criminal accounts: 2nd-degree reckless homicide, 3 accounts of 2nd-degree, I said 3 of 2nd-degree reckless homicide, operator, flee, elude officer, resulting in deaths, 3 counts of that, and knowingly operate without valid license, cause of death, 3 counts of that. And here's the girl, for those of y'all that want to see her. Look at her. Somebody family member out there, somebody know her out there, somebody out there, one of y'all know her, you feel me? And say 19-year-old Milwaukee Trayvon Loston was also charged with several felonies in connection to the chase. However, he was not charged with homicide, as prosecutors believe Eggerson was the driver when the crash happened. You know, if convicted on all charges, she faces 168 years in prison. Woo! If convicted on all 3 counts of murder, she's facing 168 years. Do y'all know she's 17? She'd be out. Let me do the math on this, y'all. This is horrible. And this is why I say, you know, the kids nowadays, gang, let me find my calculator. I don't understand. You feel me? I don't understand these kids, y'all. 168 plus 17 years. Man, she'll get out of jail when she 185 years old. if she's convicted. She get out of jail when she's 185 years old, and y'all know how Wisconsin laws go. 9 times out of 10, they're going to make her do 85 years, and the rest of the time, when she get out of jail, she's going to have to do it on papers. When she get out of jail, y'all, she won't even be able to have kids. When she get out of jail, y'all, her parents will never have grandbabies. This girl never started her life. She's 17 years old. She already threw her life away. She had a chance to go to college. She had a chance to be a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer. She had a chance to be a therapist, a psychologist. She had a chance to be anything in the world she wanted. She could have got rich. She could have did anything, made TV shows. She could have been on Tyler Perry shows. She could have made movies. We don't know what this girl life consisted of. We don't know what our Creator blessed her to do in this world. But one thing I do know she just threw all those blessings away trying to be somebody she's not. And I think a lot of times these teens and these kids out here, they have identity crisis. And the reason I say that is because I think a lot of them do the things they do out here trying to prove themselves to themselves because of the group they kick it around or the crowd they hang with, or I believe they do the things they do out here to try to prove themselves to the crowd they're with. You feel me? And they just say fuck myself. I think they try to do it to prove themselves to the gang and the crowd and familiars they hang with, because maybe some of these people be like, you ain't like this, you ain't like that, you know what I'm saying, you weak, you scary, you a chump. And that's why back in our days when I was coming up gang in school in elementary and middle school and shit like this, even when I was running the streets, you feel me, even when I dropped out of school and I was running the streets, I always had discernment. I always had discernment from my higher self. I always had discernment from my inner self to understand when somebody was trying to get me into something I didn't belong in. So, you know, let's go on with this story. It say, according to the criminal complaint, Milwaukee police were on patrol near Sherman and Center on Tuesday, September 16th. They spotted a white SUV with no plates driving at a high rate of speed eastbound on Center. The officers activated their lights and sirens to conduct a traffic stop, but the driver of the vehicle did not stop. The complaint says instead the driver fled from the attempted traffic stop through a residential area at speeds of 70 miles to 80 miles per hour. The chase eventually came to a conclusion when the Dodge Journey went through a red light at 35th and Valete, and the white SUV struck a car with 5 people inside. 3 of those people were killed as a result of the crash. 2 others were seriously hurt. Officers immediately went to the vehicle, which had flipped and was resting on the driver's side of the car. With the passenger side of the car in the air, officers saw the defendant, Nashana Eggerson, climb out of the passenger side window. She was then taken into custody. While officers were attempting to pull people out of both vehicles to render aid, an officer was with Eggerson, who then yelled out, "Who did I hit?" And then, did I hit? However, shortly after those outbursts, Eggerson told the officer that she had been a passenger and that Loston had been driving, per the complaint. Investigators downloaded data from the vehicle airbag control module, which showed that in the 5 seconds leading up to the crash, the vehicle speed went from 66 miles per hour to 70 miles per hour with the gas pedal fully depressed. Damn. The complaint notes that the speed limit on North 35th Street is 30 miles per hour. Wow. So, here's the picture of the 19-year-old man. A Milwaukee man now faces charges associated with the crash that killed 3 members of a single family at 35th and Valete. And here's the photo of this guy. And like I said, condolences to the family, man. Because a lot of this shit don't gotta happen, man. A lot of this shit take place because, you know, these people are so stupid. Now, let's hear her statement, right? So let's see. Okay, let's get both of these statements, right? Let's get both of these statements. It said, interview with the other passenger. So the complaint goes on to say that police interviewed the 16-year-old passenger in the Dodge Journey who said that, wait. Oh, okay, so I thought she was 17. Now they say she's 16. Who said that Trayvon Loston was driving the vehicle when he picked them up, and when he picked them up. Who's them? When the 3 of them had been driving around Milwaukee. However, about 10 minutes before the police chase, Loston and Eggerson switched seats, and Eggerson was the one driving when the police attempted to pull them over. So it sounds like there's a third person. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like there's a third person that was involved in this crash that was inside the vehicle also, which I didn't know because Fox 6 didn't state this on the news the day of. So, and I'm assuming because the passenger is 16 and a minor, they're not going to say the name, but I would have figured they would have not said the name of the other passenger, the 17-year-old girl, Deshauna Eggerson. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, so Loston's statements. Here go the 19-year-old guy, the male I showed you guys. Loston, who stated that on September 16, he received a text message from Eggerson earlier in the day to come pick her up and get her some liquor. Loston stated that after picking her up, he got tired of driving, so he pulled over and allowed her to take over driving the stolen car. Okay. Loston stated that the chase began as soon as she pulled off and turned the corner. Loston stated that Eggerson was driving during the fatal fleeing from the police, but admitted that he was guiding her on how to drive during the chase. So Eggerson's statement, this is the person who was doing the driving, the 17-year-old girl who crashed into the people. So what she said, after her original outburst, Eggerson told officers and detectives that Loston was the driver. Eventually, after detectives explained that her description of who was driving was inconsistent with the manner in which the bodies were found, as well as her own prior statements, she then told detectives that she would tell the truth and said she was the driver. Per the criminal complaint, she stated that when she began to drive, she did not know it was a stolen vehicle, but fled because she found out she was driving a stolen vehicle. Okay, so now y'all hear that. She said she fled because she found out she was driving a stolen vehicle. But on Fox 6 News on the day of, the crash that killed these 3 people, she stated that Loston had a gun held to her head and made her continue to run. Let's continue. Eggerson then stated that she crashed. She said she only learned this after the police activated their emergency lights. Eggerson then stated that she crashed on purpose so that she would not have to keep speeding. She said that Loston was yelling at her to keep going. She stated that if the car was not stolen, she would have pulled over. She then said Loston pointed a gun at her. That was why she continued to flee. Oh my God. So now, you continued to tell this lie. You told 3 different lies. You said you didn't know the car was stolen. Then you turned around and said the second one, if you knew the car was stolen, you would have stopped. Then, originally you told them he was driving. That was the first lie right out the gate. You told 3 lies right out the gate. Then you came with another one, Eggerson. You came with another one and you said he pointed the gun at you. Okay? Right? That was crazy. According to the complaint, Eggerson stated that she saw the other vehicle coming and pushed the gas pedal harder because she knew it was going to be a crash, and she let the blank hit. She also admitted that she knew she went through a red light. That's even worse. She admitted to knowing all of these fatal final decisions of someone else's life. She admitted to knowing that these things she did, she knew she was doing them, and that right there is finna seal the deal for her in court. That right there gives her no fighting chance of making it out, right? That right there alone, unless they play the card game where, okay, he's the oldest, Loston is the oldest, he's 19, and they can charge him with everything because they can say he coerced these younger teens into doing this crime. Man, like I said before, man, condolences to the family of the 3 people that lost their lives, the mother and the 2 sons. I'm so hurt that had to happen. I'm so hurt that those beautiful souls had to leave so soon, due to stupidity of teenagers, due to the stupidity and the just outright dumb ideas that these younger crowds nowadays choose to participate in. I hate that it had to go that way. Everybody out there, y'all stay safe driving these roads. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you praying over your family. Make sure you guiding people the right way. You feel me? Not like Loston was guiding this young teenager, a female, to drive this stolen vehicle. Y'all make sure y'all stay safe, man. Stay out the way. I love every one of y'all out there. I am out.